This week we are talking about rumination, um, and the fact that for many of us who find that ruminating is a common response to fearful situations or unpleasant sensations, we can actually find that rumination can exacerbate chronic pain. Because what ends up happening is that if a symptom arises or a flare up arises, and then we go down a spiral of negative thoughts and worry and catastrophizing worst case scenarios, basically your body's nervous system is responding to an increased sense of threat, um, which can in fact cause it to respond with an even more intense sense of pain or, you know, lead to the tensing of your muscles throughout your body and greater discomfort. So we can sort of end up being our own worst enemy when it comes to the patterns of thinking that may lead to worsening pain in the midst of flare-ups when it happens in a kind of repeated cycle of pain and um, in various parts of the body. So I hesitate to go further without stopping and saying, this is not an invitation for you to now go and berate yourself for having ruminating thoughts. I'm sharing this as someone who struggles with anxiety and who has had chronic back pain since I was 13. Um, and although I will say my back pain has greatly improved over the past several years, but at no point in my process, when I saw a million different specialists over the years, did anyone make a connection between the fact that I was experiencing anxiety and the fact that I was experiencing chronic pain. And if you are someone who has anxious thoughts or, um, an elevated sense of worry or dread, um, you probably already are experiencing rumination as part of that process. Now, I have a tendency to imagine the worst case scenario for just about everything. Um, and this, of course, gets exacerbated in experiences of trauma. Um, so, this is just a part of who we are as a species, and we cannot hate on um, the processes that have allowed us to survive over the millennia, um, and then expect them to also go away. So we do have to sort of hold in our hands at the same time. Rumination is a thought pattern that has been ingrained into my into my habits, into my neural pathways as a conditioned or coping mechanism over generations and also through my own environmental factors. Okay, so we're not going to just flip a switch and suddenly become a person who doesn't worry. And I don't think that that's the expectation, nor would I tell you that, you are the reason for your pain. Okay, so let's just be really clear that the goal here is not to um, cultivate more negativity towards ourselves. It's actually to cultivate compassion. It's to recognize, hey, I'm doing that thing where I have a pain flare up right now, or I have had a spike in pain that's unexpected and unexplained. And so now I'm starting to have thoughts like, is it permanent? Is it getting worse? What am I going to do? Um, and those are not helpful thought patterns. So they can be there and you can still acknowledge this is actually not helpful for me. And so what do we do instead? So what we do instead is we try to get into a situation, a mindset where you can turn inwards on the body, have a moment of mindfulness, and without judgment or analysis of any kind, just observe what's happening. Um, just imagine, the shapes and the colors and sort of almost as if your sensations in your body were a light show. And when you do that, you will very quickly realize when you sit with your sensations for a time, if you've ever tried meditating and sitting with sensations for a time, they're not static. Just like the feelings that we experience that arise and fade away, the sensations come and go. And so getting some kind of perspective and awareness of the fact that, hey, sensations come and go. And this one will, it may worsen for a time, it'll probably get better for a time, and it's going to flux, and we're going to just observe it. And usually being able to step away and create a little bit of a distance and also get out of the kind of analytical mind for a time and get into the physical body instead gives us that space that we need to then hopefully move on to something else that can redirect us to a sense of safety and comfort. So, if there's certain aromas, like scented lotions or candles or things that you can put on that, or like cozy blankets, or taking a walk in nature, or maybe some music that really calms you. Getting into a headspace of everything is going to be okay is much more productive for our pain experience than allowing ourselves to sit in that spiral of rumination. Is it going to happen sometimes? Of course it is. I mean, I've been doing this work for so long and I've been experiencing pain for so long, and I still catch myself constantly. So I'm really saying this as someone who, you know, has to acknowledge that I am a work in progress. I have not mastered this. I don't know if I will ever master this. And we have to be okay with ourselves as human beings who are on a journey and just trying to get better, a little bit better, 1% better every day. And I don't mean better in terms of like healing ourselves, because sometimes the symptoms that we're having are just invariably going to come and go, but better in terms of facing our situations and our fellow human beings with compassion and courage and learning how to have a mindset that's productive. Um, and that's really hard. It's really, really, really hard. It gets harder as we go, I think, in a lot of ways. So be kind to yourself and know that sitting with the fear, when you feel yourself experiencing a fearful response, this is not a helpful or productive situation in response to chronic pain. Obviously, if you just stabbed yourself with a knife by accident, please get to the emergency room and get treatment. That is, a warranted fear response. But otherwise, we have to sort of face the facts and challenge our core beliefs about whether or not we're really in danger. And again, if you're like me and anxiety is where you live, then you probably have a sense of danger being around the corner a lot. And so that's just something that we need to be kind to each other about and also acknowledge that there are sensations that come with that and that the sensations will come and go and that there are things we can do to create comfort and safety. So, um, sorry, that was a bit of a long one today, but um, I look forward to talking to you next week.